Hello everyone, it's Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association and welcome to another weekly dose of inspiration to build a successful business. So today we are talking all about perfectionism, failure and starting before you are ready, and we are joined by the lovely Marie Poulin, who is a digital strategist and she helps entrepreneurs to bring their ideas to life in the digital space. So Marie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk about this because I feel like these three things, being a perfectionist, fear of failure, and feeling like you're not ready are some of the biggest things that hold people back when they've got these great ideas that people would love. So I'm excited to jump in and talk about all this stuff and talk about how people can overcome these things so they can get their ideas out there. So what do people need to do?
I think you're bang on in that this is something that everybody experiences. We are all so afraid of putting our ideas out there before they're perfect. So I've seen so many brilliant entrepreneurs that have amazing ideas that they put on the back burner for years, and I am one of those people.
Yeah, you do.
We all do that, and I think the insidious thing about perfectionism is it can hide itself in other ways. So, for example, oh, I'm too busy, or oh, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that was something that was holding me back from my own ideas. I thought, oh, I'm so busy. There's client work to do. There's other things to do, but if these ideas were so important, why wasn't I making time for them the same way I was making time for other projects? And I think it was that fear of starting, that fear of what happens when you put yourself out there? What if nobody buys it? What if nobody likes it? I mean, that's a scary feeling.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we've all had ideas that we've maybe left in our notebooks or, have been lingering in our head for years. And I heard something that resonated with me, and it goes something like this. Your potential for success is proportional to your capacity to take risks. And I realized that if I wanted more success, I was going to have to play a bigger game. And I was going to have to actually step in the ring to do that. So I realized I wasn't even in the game at all. So
I love that. It's so true.
It is true. So it's easy when if you're not stepping in there, you're not taking a risk, you're not putting your big ideas out there, of course you're not going to get rejected. So it's the easy approach. And but an important principle to know is that successful people take action as quickly as possible, even if they perform badly. Mm-hmm. So they're willing to take risks very, very quickly because it's the quickest way to know if your ideas, are resonating with people. So once you take that first step and you get a little taste of failure, I think it actually gets easier. And I don't know if you felt this too, but you have to kind of reframe failure in your mind, right? As it's just another step along the way to your success. So you have to know as quickly as possible if something resonates, or maybe the idea that you have is not going to be the way you thought it would be, and that's okay. So we can't afford to wait until things are perfect. Perfect is the magical unicorn that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. All of our projects, I think, even when we launch them, they're never as perfect as we had intended them to be. So, and I think it was Reid Hoffman that said, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, then you launched too late. And I really do believe that's true.
That is a really, really good point. I think what you said though about it's about reframing with all this stuff, and it's about changing your perspective. It's so true with all of it, with failing and perfectionism. So yeah, I'm loving what you're saying right now.
So I think a failed launch is better than no launch at all, right? At least you've learned something along the way. So I think if you can commit to failing early and often, make that something that you're committing to doing, even if it's every day, if it's once a week, if it's once a month, to just taking little risks. Reaching out to people that you might not have, asking for an interview or a guest post, or just kind of putting yourself out there in ways that you weren't willing to before, it gets addictive and it actually creates a little bit of momentum. And so another part of getting your ideas out to the market and getting past that perfection is growing a community around your ideas and your products. So I think the best way you can do that is to, first of all, ask your community. If you have ideas for things, run them past people. See how people resonate when you tell them your big ideas. So just because we have ideas doesn't mean people are willing to give us money for those ideas, mm-hmm. right? So even great ideas have to be validated. And the most obvious thing to do is to be listening to your market. So what are people actually asking for? Sometimes we have ideas and we think they're going to be the most amazing thing. We want to put them out there. Well, why aren't people buying from us? Why aren't people, well, we're not necessarily asking, what do people want? What do other people actually need? And what are they asking for?
Yeah.
Not what do we think they want, right?
I think that's a big point, and I always try and use surveys and asking my audience about stuff before I launch stuff, because like you said, you have all these questions like, will people even like this? What's the right way to structure it? What's the right price to charge? And we have all these questions that we're so afraid to get wrong. We're so afraid to come up with the wrong answer for it, that it stops us from making progress. So I ask. So I put these surveys together to ask people everything I want to find out. Literally, even ask how much they want to pay, because they're like your audience, or your target audience are the best people to tell you on that, so you can actually get that answer. So I totally agree with that.
It's funny that we're afraid to ask, but it's the easiest way to find out. People are going to tell you,
and then you can do a better job, so people will love you even more.
Exactly. Over delight. And that's actually another point in building your audience. I think it's so important to be helpful, be valuable, connect people, over-deliver. So, I spent a year giving away my best resources, my favorite tools, advice, things that I learned, and tell people how much you appreciate them. Ask nothing in return, help other people, instill confidence in them. They're going to remember you. So if you help people shine, they will remember you and they will support you. I always say, forget competitors. Start seeing everybody as a potential collaborator, right? Because even some of my loudest, supporters or champions have been my peers and other fellow designers. So I think it's so important to, that's almost like a lens change. Like you have to stop seeing, oh, what are they doing? Or, oh no, they're doing something similar. That's okay. How can we leverage each other's strengths? Help each other out. It's so important.
I couldn't agree more. Such an important point. Everything you just said then is so important, with delivering and over-delivering, over-delighting, and asking for nothing in return. It gets you the biggest fans, the people so grateful, and that's such a great point.
Awesome. And another thing to distinguish too is, not everything you're creating is going to resonate with everybody. So I think we get afraid that not everyone's going to love our idea, and like that sort of reinforces that perfection. Like, oh, I don't want to put it out there until it's like this or like that. But you're going to find the people that resonate most with you, and it's better to have a smaller audience of really, really committed people than to just try to please everybody, and then you're not really pleasing everyone, right? So, and so one of the last, major lessons that I think has been so helpful for me is beta testing your way to success, right? So I'm convinced if I hadn't beta tested my idea for a program, I would never have taken action. I'm sure I would have waited another year. Oh, it's going to take, forever to write all the content. It's just not there yet, right? So even if you have to test your idea with 3 or 4 people, it really takes the pressure to be perfect off, because you're going to get real feedback from participants. Maybe they're people that maybe they're friends that would also benefit from what you have. So, put together an outline of your idea, ask a small group of people if they're interested. You could offer your course at a discounted rate, or pay what you can. I did, my own beta as a pay what you can model, and you can basically kickstart your own project. And so if you make the ask and you invite 3 to 4 people to join your beta and you get a great response, okay, there's some viability to your idea. If you don't hear from anybody, maybe crickets are chirping, at least you haven't invested all of this time in this perfect idea that was so perfect in your head, but maybe it doesn't resonate with people.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe they just need they're not ready for it. Maybe they just need, even though one of your points was start before you're ready. But sometimes I think you have to maybe grow that audience or that community, or go out there and do try to put the beta test out there to get that response, to know, actually, I need to go and find more people who are going to love what I have got to offer more before putting this out there full scale and spending a load of money on it.
Absolutely. I think it's almost more important to build your community before your product.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of get people supporting you as a person and with your ideas. And when you're ready to offer something, they're so happy to support you because you've been their champion as well. So it's
Yeah.
mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So and of course, the benefits of a beta, you get to determine if there is actually interest, if it's worth pursuing your idea. You get to at least partially fund the creation of your project. It's going to hold you accountable, right? You have people relying on you, so it kind of gives you something to shoot for, something to schedule, and you get practice. So this is where you get to build your confidence in your experience, so it's not so scary the next time around. And of course, you're going to get testimonials, and then you can learn from those testimonials. You can tweak your content. You're going to learn things that you didn't expect. If you just waited and you launched your perfect thing, you're not going to get that. For example, there were just certain questions that my beta testers had that I wouldn't have predicted or I wouldn't have expected. And so I know that when I launch for real, I'm basing my improvements to that program on actual things that those people have asked me for. And so I just think it's so important to listen very carefully to what your people are asking for and what resonates, and you're just building for them. So
yeah, and I also think it gives you the confidence as well to put stuff out there, because that's a big thing. Like, all of us have different levels of confidence, and I know some people that have put courses out there that is their very first course. They've charged a premium for it, or it's been like, maybe $1,000, and they've put it out there before they've actually even created a single module of their course, and they've absolutely smashed it. People have loved it, and I've been so grateful for what they've done. And I think that takes some guts, that takes some courage to do that. And like, I'm not entirely sure I'm the kind of person that could do that, because I think that I do often need to really build myself up with confidence to launch stuff. But I think that's the thing, it's trying to figure out where to get the confidence from to be able to go, right, I'm going to put it out there now. And like you said, I think doing things like the beta testing and all of that, and asking your audience, builds up that confidence and that reassurance that you are doing the right thing and that you're on track. So
it really does. I mean, I don't think I would have necessarily had that confidence to launch. And, my beta testers were so supportive. And I was making certain assumptions about what their maybe level of experience or knowledge was. So I would deliver materials and, they'd be so excited, or their minds would be blown. And here I was thinking, I don't know if I should release that because everybody kind of knows that stuff already. Right? Like, you kind of forget what you know.
Yeah, you do.
Right? So I think that's key, to have those people that are saying, wow, this was helpful. And then when you get to see the results of your beta testers beginning to end, you see, okay, what I'm doing actually is creating an impact, and that does build your confidence.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's just a really positive and inspiring message to be reinforced that, we don't need to make sure not everything needs to be perfect. I know I've launched stuff in the past that definitely isn't. When I launched my membership, the members club, it was definitely not perfect. There was I tried the content that I was delivering. Obviously I did that to the very best of my ability, but some of the technical stuff was definitely not perfect by any means. I think, again, like, not being so afraid to fail, figuring out where to get that confidence from, the changing perspective, and maybe taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture of life. That always helps me, because I'm like, one day I'm not going to be here, and I'm going to kick myself for not having the guts to do this. So I'm like, can we just have the guts and just bloom and do it? And then I think you're right, like, then doing the beta testing for, like, having, testing things out, hearing back from people, learning and building up your confidence, such a brilliant thing. So all those things are so great and so inspiring for everyone. I think doing anything, they're really great messages. So thank you so much for sharing all of those with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I would love to know what you think about this. Do you ever feel held back by perfectionism, stuck because of fear of failure or fear of getting something wrong? And do you ever feel like you just stop because you don't feel like you're quite ready? If so, I would absolutely love to hear your experiences and thoughts on this. Head over to the blog and leave a comment. And also, if you have enjoyed this video and you're not subscribed, then make sure you subscribe. You can do so either via YouTube if you hang around on YouTube, or you can also subscribe on the blog via the image at the end of this post. Just click that and you can sign up via email, and we'll send you a weekly email. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it inspiring. Go out there and make your ideas happen. Turn them into reality, because people will absolutely love them, and you will be so happy that you did it. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you next week for another dose of inspiration.